Hello, friends. Starting this July, two things are quietly closing in on your Social Security check, and almost nobody is connecting them. Neither one is going to show up as a dramatic headline on the evening news. Neither one is something your bank or the Social Security Administration is going to call and warn you about. But both broke in just the last week. Both are tied directly to this summer, and both change the picture for every single person collecting Social Security in America. The first comes from a government report released June 9th. A key deadline just moved closer, and the reason why is something seniors were told was good news. The second comes from inflation data released June 13th. The prices you are paying this very summer are quietly setting next year's raise while already shrinking the check you have now. I am going to break down both in easy, plain language, explain exactly what they mean for you, and most importantly, tell you what you should actually do about each one. Before we start, subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell because this is breaking right now, and this is exactly the kind of thing I track so you don't have to. Let's get into it. The first piece of bad news is buried inside a government document that almost no senior will ever open, and it moved a date that affects all of them. Let me explain what that document is. Once a year, a group of government trustees is legally required to add up everything Social Security takes in, everything it pays out, and report back on how long the system can keep its promises. Think of it as the program's annual physical. The results came back on June 9th, and one number jumped off the page: 2032. That is the year the main retirement fund, the one your monthly check is drawn from, is now expected to burn through the savings it has been living on. What makes the 2032 number alarming is not the number itself. It is the direction it is moving. Rewind to last year's checkup, and the same trustees were saying early 2033. 12 months later, they have pulled it back to late 2032. The finish line did not stay put. It slid toward us, and this is now twice in a row that it has slid the wrong way. A deadline that keeps getting earlier is a very different thing from a deadline that is simply far away. And here is the twist that should make every senior pay attention, because the cause is something you were handed as a win. When the One Big Beautiful Bill passed in 2025, it cut the taxes retirees owe on their Social Security benefits. On your tax return, that is money in your pocket, no argument. But follow the money one step further. A chunk of those benefit taxes used to circle right back into the Social Security fund. Cut the tax, and you cut the money flowing back in. The trustees say plainly that this is one of the reasons the clock jumped forward. In other words, the gift handed to seniors with one hand quietly pulled the deadline closer with the other. Now, the question everyone gets wrong: does 2032 mean the checks stop? No. And anyone telling you Social Security is going bankrupt is selling fear. Here is the real mechanics. Even after the savings are gone, the system keeps collecting taxes from every working American, and that cash keeps coming in the door. The problem is, it is not enough to cover the full promise. Only about 78 cents on every dollar owed. So unless Congress steps in first, the law triggers an across-the-board cut of 22%. Not means-tested, not based on your age or your health. Everyone the same day takes the hit. Picture what that does to a real budget. Robert is 71, collecting right around the national average of $2,081 a month. The 22% cut lops $458 off the top, and his check lands at $1,623. For Robert, that $458 was not extra. It was the prescriptions and half the rent. Scale it to your own number. A $1,500 check loses $330. A $2,500 check loses $550. This is not a warning about some future generation of retirees. It is aimed squarely at the people drawing benefits today, and the timer reads under 7 years. AARP fired off a statement the same afternoon demanding Congress act, and within a day, the actuaries and policy groups were all saying the same thing. The longer Washington stalls, the harsher the eventual fix. So what do you actually do with this? Start by taking a breath, because the honest answer is nothing breaks this week, this month, or this year. Every dollar is funded through 2032 as the law stands now, so anyone pressuring you into a panic move is doing you no favors. What this report really hands you is leverage in two situations. First, the political noise. You are about to hear Social Security reform in every election ad for years, and now you know the baseline they are all dancing around. A 22% cut is what happens if they do nothing, so you can size up any proposal against that. Second, if you are still deciding when to claim, this belongs in the math. Filing sooner nails down your benefit under today's rules. Holding out to 70 grows the monthly amount, but leans harder on Congress fixing this in time. There is no universal right here, only the right answer for your situation made with your eyes open. The second piece of bad news looks like a raise on the surface, which is exactly what makes it easy to miss. Start with a fact most people on Social Security have never been told. The raise you get each January is not based on the whole year. It is built from just 3 months of price data: July, August, and September. Whatever inflation does across that summer stretch sets your raise for all of next year. So the prices you are paying right now, gas, groceries, the electric bill, are the exact numbers the government will use to calculate your 2027 check. That measurement window opens in July, just days away. The June 13th data gave us the first real read, and it came in high. The inflation gauge that feeds the COLA hit 4.4% over the past year, the highest in 3 years, driven mainly by energy costs, with grocery prices climbing faster than the official numbers suggest. Mary Johnson, who has tracked these calculations for decades, raised her 2027 estimate to 4.7% the same day. The Senior Citizens League is projecting 3.8%. Either way, the trend is up. On paper, that sounds good. This year's 2.8% raise added about $56 to the average monthly check. A 4.7% raise would nearly double that, roughly $98 a month. $117 on a $2,500 benefit, $70 on a $1,500 one. So why file a bigger raise under bad news? Because of what the raise is telling you. A bigger COLA is not a bonus. It only goes up because prices went up first, and prices hit your wallet long before the raise reaches your check. Look at how that played out this year. Margaret is 68, widowed, on the average benefit. Her January COLA added $56 a month. But by Johnson's math, the same groceries, gas, and prescriptions now cost her about $94 more than a year ago. Her income rose $56 while her costs rose $94. That $38 gap every month adds up to more than $450 over the year, and a bigger 2027 raise only closes part of it because the same inflation creating the raise is already eating it, and it is landing on the people with the least room to absorb it. A survey out this week found 44% of retirees, nearly 25 million people, now rely on Social Security for 100% of their income, up from 39% a year ago. More people than ever have no second check and no cushion, walking straight into the gap between what things cost and what their raise can cover. So here is your move. First, do not rearrange your finances around any COLA estimate yet. The official number is not set until October, after this summer's 3 months are counted. So today's figures only tell you the direction, which is up. Second, and more useful, budget for the gap, not the headline. Plan as if your costs are rising faster than your check, and if you can, set aside a small cushion this summer, rather than waiting on a raise that arrives in October already behind the prices you are paying in July. So here is where this leaves you. The June 9th Trustees Report moved the trust fund depletion date closer to late 2032, and the senior tax break that looked like a gift is part of the reason. If Congress does nothing, that means an automatic 22% cut for everyone now under 7 years out. And the June 13th inflation data confirmed that the prices you are paying this summer are setting a 2027 raise that, however big it looks in October, still cannot keep up with what you are actually paying at the store and the pump. None of this means panic. Your check is funded and you have time. It just means seeing clearly what is coming, so you make your decisions and judge the politicians with the real facts instead of the spin. If this helped, do one thing for me. Share it with someone who depends on Social Security, because most people will only hear the vague version, and they deserve the straight one. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and I will keep tracking this for you. See you in the next one.